Okay, so we're going to go ahead and dive in. I want to welcome our guests that are taking a look at this Legal Shield opportunity presentation. My name is Rocco Cilio, and I am the Regional and Network Vice President here in New Jersey. Obviously, I've got the privilege here of introducing the Legal Shield business opportunity to everybody listening in and watching. We know that there are folks from all different walks of life that are taking a look at this information. And up front, I just wanted to put in context a little bit about my background with the company. I've been with Legal Shield now for well over 7 years. And prior to that, I come out of the world of traditional small business ownership. And I remember looking at this opportunity years back. Somebody came into my office with a brochure and said you could pick up the phone and call an attorney as often as you need to for $20 a month without worrying about a bill. And that guy didn't know it at that point in time, but I was ready to sign up just based on that for a number of reasons, but mainly because at that point in my life, I don't know if I'd spent more money hiring attorneys when I needed help with things, or if it cost me more money when I should have hired an attorney, but instead made a bad decision because I either couldn't afford an attorney or I didn't think that it was worth it. So I understood the value of good advice. I just needed to know that the service was real. I was in an unfortunate circumstance. Both the businesses that I was involved in were really taking a dramatic turn for the worse. And I was looking. I needed to find something that I could eventually replace an income with. And for some of you on the line, maybe that's not your story. Maybe you have a comfortable job now where things are working out pretty well for you, and you're just looking for an opportunity to bring in some extra money. Or you're looking at this as a potential way to be able to share some good information with people. Other folks that look at this business, they're not in a position where they can jump ship out of a job, even though long term they'd like to be in a business like this. But they understand and recognize that no longer will they let somebody hold them accountable to when they can come and go, or how much they think that that person might think that they're worth from a salary perspective. They recognize that this opportunity can give them a chance long term to get away from that. So we invite everybody to look at this. It's certainly not a one size shoe fits all scenario. And without really getting into too much of the details here on the background of our company, there is some important things I want to share up front. We are coming up almost on 50 years young. We've been around since 1972. So even though we're a mature company that already does a high volume in annual revenue. We eclipsed the $500 million a year mark, and we service already 4 million families across North America. We're really just getting started on where we are heading for the long term. And that matters because this is a 46-year-old company with a brand new opportunity. And you just don't get that every day. And what I say by a brand new opportunity, let's first clarify a few things here by looking a little bit further at the history of our companies. You can see we've been around for a long time. We cover every state in the United States, 4 provinces in Canada. Currently, we're not in Alaska, so there is one state left out, but we're on our way there soon. And that's a snapshot of our home office out in Oklahoma. That's a $26 million campus that's staffed with well over 800 representatives that are there to be able to help us run our business out in the field. And that's what makes this model untraditional. As I mentioned, I come out of the world of traditional small business ownership. And for me, I had to go through the process of building a platform from the ground up that included everything from forming a business, limited liability company, to going out and finding a team of folks to get involved with me to be able to have that foundation raise up. And I had phone systems, computer systems, employees, overhead, payroll, taxes, you name it. So what I appreciated about Legal Shield is that was all taken out of the equation, and I got to latch on to a brand that is reputable as Legal Shield, and they already had the tools and systems in place that allowed me to just hit the ground running and spend the time on the thing that inspired me to get into business to begin with. See, that couldn't happen in my traditional businesses. I was wearing too many hats. So I understood that this model was something that could certainly be for me, and I started to press the gas pedal 7.5 years ago. I was introduced to our vision, which is to provide equal access to the liberty, equality, opportunity, and justice that every North American deserves and expects. And that's important to me because this is a business that is certainly putting out a very noble cause, something that we can be a part of and feel good putting our name behind. And that was something out there in the age of transparency and social media. It's very easy for the insincere players to get sniffed out. And if you're looking to do something to empower yourself and better yourself, why not latch it onto a vision like this? And then when you introduce our mission behind that, which is to help people improve their lives by teaching life transforming skills and to deliver exceptional products and services that promote peace of mind and confidence in a world that is oftentimes uncaring and selfish. So that's who Legal Shield is. And over the next few minutes, as we get into the details of the content and the message that's packaged into this presentation, we want you to take that vision and our mission and just plant the seed in your mind that if everything we're saying is true, could this be the right opportunity for you? Is this something that you could feel good putting your name behind? Now, I want to take a step back for a second, and I wanted to just for a minute have everybody imagine a time prior to the internet and payphones before cell phones. And if you go all the way back to 1972, there was fax machines that got used, and that's how business got done. Fast forward, the age of digital on us, and the way that product and starts service wound up having success. Well, along the way, technology wound up finding its way into everywhere in business, not just in Legal Shield. And you see some companies adapt to the changes in technology and others weren't. I want you to know that Legal Shield is in a position not only to adapt, but to thrive, not just to survive, but actually thrive in this changing economy. And we invite you to be able to participate in that same and often started to explode all over you a few quick examples here of a few that actually worked for and that led to them wind up bankruptcy. The transportation. If you think back to how taxis used to work, if you ever get in one now, I'd be surprised. But if you do, you know it's not an easy process. It's not easy for the flag down the cab, call them, let them know where you're at, dealing with haggling back and forth with the driver. See, now everything is done right on a mobile app on the remote control of our life, which is our cell phones. There's GPS built right into it to find us. You pay in advance, and you never have a hassle. See, Uber, Instagram, and some of these others, you look at Airbnb, now the largest travel accommodations company in the world, they don't own a single hotel. But what they've done is they've simplified a very old industry that needed an overhaul. The reality is that if there's a service or product out there that is cumbersome or hard to use, but there's a necessity for it, or there's a perceived need in the marketplace for it, a digital disruptor will come along and change the way that people view that. How about your shopping experiences? No longer do we need to visit the retail stores and deal with the parking lots, the lines, the clutter in the aisles, and everything else that comes along with it. We can go right to an app on our phone through Amazon, and we could wind up being in a position to be able to buy whatever we want to and have it delivered to us right at our doorstep. One of the last examples we'll share is Netflix, who absolutely disrupted the movie industry, the home movie industry. Remember a company called Blockbuster? Blockbuster is another company that was just unable to respond to a changing time. And if you think to using the Blockbuster model, we would drive out there, whether it's cold out, if you happen to live in a cold weather area, you'd get there, you'd hope the movie that you were looking for was in stock. If you're fortunate enough to do that, you get home and then you put it in, you hope it's not scratched. And then they charge you, by the way, for a late fee. Well, with Netflix, they came along and changed the way that we access those same services, and they made it simple, disruptive by price. Netflix, you can subscribe to thousands of movies, TV shows, and documentaries, all for one low price of about $12 or $13 a month. Blockbuster could not respond, and therefore we're out of business. Now, we bring all this to put in context. What does all this have to do with Legal Shield? Well, the legal industry is one of the oldest industries known to civilization. As a matter of fact, it goes all the way back to ancient Greece, long before Blockbuster was around or any of these other comparables that we talked about, whether it's Kodak or some of the other players that with the taxi cab industry and that sort of thing. But here's the thing: the legal industry is not one of the oldest industries known to civilization. It's also, by way of financial revenue, one of the largest, over $300 billion a year in annual revenue. But here in the United States and many other places around the world in North America, the legal system has been broken. The folks who get access to it are often just the people who can afford it. And so with there being such a need, and by the way, when I say need, there were 96 million plus court filings just last year alone, compared to about 35 million hospital admissions, which means that we are all 3 times as likely to need access to an attorney than we do access to medical insurance. But we know how expensive health insurance is. What we're about to show you over the next few minutes cost an entire family a little more than $1 a day to get access to for something they're 3 times as likely to need. So back to my point, some of these industries, if you were to total Instagram, the photo industry, the taxi industry, the hotel industry, the home entertainment industry, I'll leave out retail because Amazon, that could be everything. But if you add up those other 4 industries total, they still don't come close to meeting $300 billion a year. So I can't think of an industry that needs to be disrupted more than the legal industry. And along comes a 45-year-old company that's not falling by the wayside, but is not only changing with the times, but is the market leader in the space. So let's take a look at the new digital disruptors on the marketplace with Legal Shield and our sister brand ID Shield. And we're going to start by looking at the Legal Shield model first. Again, a family can access our entire suite of legal services for a little more than $1 a day. And as we start to explain some of those benefits, understand that we are looking forward, not back. But if you want to take a look at where we stand presently, you can see here we have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, highly rated with Facebook and Consumer Affairs. As a matter of fact, Consumer Affairs, I think, stands on its own because you just don't get a 5-star rating with Consumer Affairs by being any type of a pay-to-play organization. These are folks that are users of our services, feel good enough about what we do to be able to let Consumer Affairs know I would recommend these folks to my friends and family. So that's a good spot to start. Now, if you look at our Legal Shield app, which is now we've taken the power of a law firm and put it right in the palm of the hand of our members. And they can pull out, again, their remote control for their life. And when they need access, they can have it with the push of a button. So first thing that a member can do is when they open up their app, they can get access to their provider law firm on any legal matter that they potentially need. We receive right now over 40,000 phone calls a week nationwide into our law firms. And folks call in with everything they can think of that might be pertaining to a legal issue because cost is out of the equation. This is now about using the legal system out of convenience, which we've always done, but we've made it now even more convenient by using a mobile app. So as we look a little bit further into it, should our members be in a situation where they're involved in a legal dispute, their provider law firm can try and get resolution for them by making a threatening phone call for them, or what we found to be much more effective, write some kind of a threatening letter on the law firm's letterhead to whoever that third party is, letting them know that our member's been advised of their legal rights and pursue whatever recourse is available if the situation's not resolved. And that becomes powerful. And then, again, I like to use examples to put things in context. And I share this example frequently because I think it's relative to everybody listening. So a colleague of mine a couple years back purchased a big screen television from Costco, spent $2,000 on it. 2 days later, a part in the back of the television burned out. He took it back to Costco and asked for assistance. They told him, we can't help you because we don't carry it anymore. You need to call the manufacturer, which happened to be a little company called Sony, right? We've all heard of those guys. So he calls into Sony on his own and gets immediately routed to the complaint department, who tells him that Costco doesn't carry it anymore because they don't make it. It's outdated, and there's nothing that they're going to be able to do for him. Now, he had access to Legal Shield, took advantage of using what was then his membership card before the app here was launched, but still dialed into his provider law firm, got access. They asked for proof of purchase, and then they drafted up a nasty gram to Sony right on the law firm's letterhead with all the attorneys signing down the bottom. But instead of getting routed to the complaint department where he got sent to, it got routed to their legal department, who responded much differently. They wound up giving him a refund check after speaking with him for almost $1,700. They did take a few dollars off for depreciation, but he wasn't getting anywhere on his own. And maybe it wasn't the television for you. Maybe it was the contractor that ruined your house. Maybe it was the insurance company that didn't pay a bill. Maybe it was the auto mechanic who made your car worse after you've paid a bill. See, life happens to all of us. And now when we do deal with those inconvenient situations, we can get them resolved more conveniently than ever by downloading and subscribing to a service that costs a family, again, a little more than $1 a day to get access to. Also, with the push of a button there on our mobile app, have your contracts and documents reviewed. Attorneys write everything that we sign. And if our attorneys aren't preparing them, they're not prepared in our favor. By putting a legal set of eyeballs on them on our behalf, we can not only find out where maybe we have potential exposure, but also where we might be overpaying for something and not even realizing it. So access matters. And we want to be able to make sure our members are having everything reviewed, whether it's perceived to be a big ticket item or a small ticket item, not just when you buy a house or lease a car. We want to have everything looked at, whether it's the cell phone contract, the cable television contract, a credit card statement, an insurance policy. Again, it's an unlimited benefit, so take advantage of it. In addition to that, our members have the ability to work with one of our tax attorneys, should they be named in an IRS audit. And if they happen to be named in a civil trial defense where they're being served with a lawsuit, as long as it's civil in nature, they can get on the phone with their attorney. And in their first year of coverage through this simple subscription, they have 60 hours of pretrial and trial defense services, along with a suite of domestic services. There's a 90-day waiting period. But should our members be in a situation where they wind up in a divorce scenario, adoption, name change, separation, annulment agreement, as long as it's uncontested in nature, they can get in touch with their provider law firm that's assigned to them through this mobile app and be able to get that situation resolved with no additional cost. So that's not bad for one push of a button. But you can look a little bit further than that and take a look at our Snap feature, which we launched recently. And I can tell you, I was fortunate enough to, I guess you can call it being fortunate, to be a user of this new service just about a month and a half ago. I was pulled over here in town where I lived at, received a 3-point ticket for making an illegal left turn, which I had no idea was an illegal left turn. However, the officer didn't care what I had to say. He gave me my ticket and walked away. I pulled out my mobile app before the police officer even got in his car and left, and I hit the Snap feature, which allowed the camera on my phone to open up, took a picture of my ticket, and was uploaded right to my provider law firm. Shortly thereafter, I actually got a phone call back from my provider attorney. He said, hey, we'll do some discovery work here. Let me know best worst case scenario. We'll see you in court. A couple weeks later, my attorney was there before me in court, went up, cut in line in front of everybody else, had a few words with the prosecutor, came over and told me when the judge calls you up there, which you'll be first, he's going to ask you to plead guilty. You say yes, you're going to have your 3-point ticket dropped, and you'll just be able to pay court fine and get out of there. And that's what wound up happening for me. So this is a family plan that covers the entire family. Even if you don't get speeding tickets, other members of the household might, and everybody will have the app downloaded on their phone. So again, convenience, simple to use, and giving you access to a great service. Now, the next button on the mobile app is the ability for our members to take care of some important estate planning issues. 80% of the American adult population does not have a will in place. 100% of us need one. It doesn't matter how old you are, how large or small your family is, or how much money you have. With our service, the members can press the button on the app and access a questionnaire form to allow them to begin the process of having their will, living will, and healthcare power of attorney prepared for the member and the member's spouse. And then once it's sent into the law firm, the attorneys will call back, complete those documents. It doesn't cost anything extra. So cost is out of the equation. That no longer is an excuse. And when I understood the value of this benefit, that's where I really got behind the business model, because I would have told people about this service whether I was getting paid for it or not. And just as a sidebar, if you believe that, you would tell people about this service whether you were getting paid for it or not, I guarantee you have a business model waiting for you. So in addition to that, we give our members the ability to touch base with an attorney for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for a perceived emergency scenario, things like being in an accident, God forbid, being arrested, questioned, detained, or child services attempts to remove children from our home. We can pull out our Legal Shield mobile app, press that red button down there, and get in touch with an attorney with just in seconds of making that phone call in to give you the best possible advice, because we know in our Miranda rights we have the right to remain silent, but we also have the right to an attorney. Now, If you can't access that right, does it exist? So in addition to that, our members might wind up in a situation where the $20 a month subscription to Legal Shield might not give them 100% coverage. That would happen in a situation where they might fall into a class action lawsuit, a criminal mischief scenario, or God forbid something pre-existing is going on. Maybe you got something going on in your world right now and you're not a Legal Shield member. You can enroll in our service and still get at least a 25% discount off whatever firm you're using in the network's normal hourly rate for that scenario. So we mentioned the whole family's covered. That would include member, spouse, or significant other. Dependent children up to age 26, and as well as full-time college students. Dependent children under the age of 18 to whom the member is a legal guardian, and any physically or mentally disabled children living at home are covered for the life of the membership, which shows you the integrity built into who we are and what we do. So we say that everybody in North America already has a legal plan. You can count on that. It's either you wait for something to come up and you spend about $250 or more on average to get access to a guy you might be stressed out, overworked, maybe just got out of law school, because that's who you can afford at that point in time. Or you could download our member app and subscribe to our service for $20 a month and have an army of some of the most highly qualified lawyers and law firms in the country at your side to be able to serve, protect you and your family. So it becomes an easy choice once you know about the information, right? Now, we want you to know that we've been endorsed by some of the brightest legal minds and attorney generals in the country. You can see here on this slide just a few of the quotes. Take a look at Buddy Caldwell down the bottom. Legal Shield provides access to the justice to all citizens. It opens the courthouse doors and levels the playing field for everybody. We've recently been endorsed by the entire Attorney General Association, talking about the value of our services to the common everyday consumer and families, as well as small business owners. This is a trend that we are taking advantage of. Now, another trend that's part of our service, you saw one of the app icons when we first started the presentation on IDS, which is our ID Shield service. And we know that identity theft is a major problem in America. We don't need to spend a lot of time explaining that. But what we do know also is there's not a lot of education that's built around all the awareness that's out there. Most people think of identity theft as being a financial related scenario, but the thieves today are way more interested in your medical records and your social security number than they are your bank account. It's way more valuable to them. The times have changed. Now, have grown to epidemic proportions with this problem where every 2 seconds somebody new is a victim of identity theft. And it's become so common to have some sort of a protection service now for those reasons. For example, we all have smoke detectors in our homes. That's self-evident. Well, we live in a world now where we're hundreds of times more likely to have our identity stolen than our house is burned down on us. So it just makes sense to have some sort of protection. Now, what doesn't make sense is just going out and grabbing a service that is strictly taking care of monitoring your credit profile. That only makes up 18% of all identity theft victims is financial related theft. So that's only 18% of what you're exposed to. But in addition to that, it does not do anything to protect your identity. Should it be stolen, you'll know about it through alerts. But the real problem lies in the details of how do you get your information restored back to where it was before the theft occurred. Yes, if you have fraud protection, it'll make sure you're not responsible for the financial losses, but that doesn't fix your problem. None of us are going to know we've been a victim of identity theft until afterwards. So what I wanted to know, as great as our service is by way of monitoring, and we monitor your entire public persona, I wanted to know if my identity is stolen, what are you going to do about it? And so our ID Shield platform is brought through a partnership with Kroll Advisory Solutions. They're the largest private investigating forensic accounting firm in the world. They do government security, background checks, best in class by way of personal security. And through this relationship that we have with them, we can guarantee a suite of very valuable identity theft protection benefits offered by downloading and subscribing to our service. We do monitoring, of course. We'll give credit score alerts, push notifications for our members should they need to respond to something out of the ordinary. And then they can also, in addition to that, they could add new information just by taking a picture if they want to add a credit card that's now being monitored or remove something else, all right from a convenient mobile app. And to me, it's powerful stuff. But right now, ID Shield has already done more than 200,000 personal identity consultations. And all of our members, when they need to access our service, will have access to a case and call history, and as well as 24/7 emergency access for coverage situations. God forbid you lose your information on the spot and you don't know what's happening. You want to get in touch with somebody, find out, where do I start? What do I do right away? If our members are breached in any area of identity theft, they're assigned a licensed investigator that will go to work for them to start the restoration process and finish the restoration process. We say that we'll do whatever it takes, as long as it takes, to get our members restored back to where it was before the theft occurred. This is one of our investigators from Kroll, Patrick O. He looks like a pretty serious individual, and he's one of the guys that's in charge of making sure that your identity is kept safe. So when you pull out these mobile apps and you look at them at your phone, it's understanding all the information that's going on behind those mobile apps. To us, it just likes a simple push of the button and creates convenience. But you just got a chance to take a look at all the moving parts that organize all that information and put it together into such the valuable resources that they are. So an entire family, they can be purchased a la carte, the ID Shield service as well as the Legal Shield service, but somewhere around 90% of all our members opt for both services to have that complete wall of protection. There are some inexpensive services for an individual, but you can see there $27.90 is the combination for Legal Shield and ID Shield for the individuals. Now, hopefully you understand the power of our services, but we don't stop there. As our membership continues to grow and expand as rapidly as it has been, we've been approached by over 500 plus brand partnerships that want to extend discounts to our members, things that you're already spending money on, whether it's dining, shopping, travel, entertainment. You have the ability to receive discounts on all these different brands just because you're either a Legal Shield member or ID Shield member or both. Once you're registered for our services, you can take advantage of enrolling through the perks program through a members only area. Now, we've just covered a lot of information in a short period of time. But we did all that to get to this point now where we're talking about our opportunity. And we believe right now that the timing could not be better. And that's the most important element. You saw that there's a tremendous need, but you also saw that there's a structure and an existing foundation here with a company. And just as importantly than that, our services are filling a major gap in the marketplace, and they work the way that we say it does. If all that's true, and again, going back to my previous statement, if you believe you would tell people about this service, whether you were getting paid for it or not, I promise you have a business waiting for you. You can register with our company. You can take advantage of this opportunity, not by having to go run out and form a limited liability company and spending hundreds of dollars there, then filing business tax returns and more expense. You don't have to do that here. We're going to show you a simple way to be able to do this business, and we're going to show you what the earning capacity is. But you can get started account for $99. That puts you in business as a sole proprietor with Legal Shield. That gives you the ability to represent those brands, Legal Shield and ID Shield, and you can start sharing those services immediately with people upon creating your account, and then wind up in a position there where you can start profiting and turning over more and more memberships to help us raise the awareness on what we're doing. So let's take a closer look about how all this works. Now, in addition to becoming an associate, that's what we call folks who get started on the business side with us. We give some additional tools that can be made available through a package we call Legal Shield Advantage. You get to test drive it for the first month for free, and you get access to more business reports, e-commerce websites, special training and personal development courses with the world-renowned Franklin Covey Institute, as well as our contests and incentives and our marketing tool, which we'll get into in a second. But here's the thing. It's not mandatory to carry Legal Shield Advantage. If you are passively a Legal Shield associate and you're more just recommending it when you're out and about, if you're not planning on doing maybe getting one or two people to download and subscribe to these services in a month, Legal Shield Advantage may not be for you. We're not here to tell you that you need to have it, but as the revenue comes in and you start to look at this more as a real business than it's being something passive, we wanted to make sure that you are armed with the tools that you need to be able to accomplish the goals that you're after, because your goals become our goals. And you'll see why here in a few minutes. But let's take a look at our marketing tool. And as I introduce Prospect by Legal Shield, I want to just quickly tell a marketing story to put things in context about how we get out there and do the business. This will matter to you immensely. You see, there are more people today who watch videos on their smartphone than television commercials. Television commercials are out. If you go back to some of the digital disruptors that we showed on one of the very first slides, whether it be Netflix, whether it be Uber, whether it be, let's go with one of the social media giants, Facebook. How did you hear about Facebook? You didn't get Facebook. You didn't get your Facebook account by seeing it on a commercial and deciding to go and create yourself an account there. Somebody else told you about it. You see, Zuckerberg and the team there, they relied on the constituents, the users of the service, to like it so much that they would pay other people, or that they would count on other people to refer that service out, and they exploded. Well, Uber put that on steroids by paying ride credits to be able to share the information. They knew they had a great service, and they knew that people would share the information with other people, but they incentivized people by doing ride credits to be able to get the message out faster. What we've done with our tools is we've now taken that and really changed it to a whole different paradigm by giving ownership interest in a book of business that can pay you and your family for years to come. This is not just commission-based marketing where you're receiving a percentage of compensation for the work that you do. We pay you a percentage of that compensation for first year, but you own the book of business. And we'll talk about that when we look at the residuals. So we put it together through a platform we call Prospect by Legal Shield, and it gives you the ability to do all your marketing right in the palm of your hand. You can send out videos and emails on our services. There's an automated follow-up process, as well as links directly to your website. In addition to that, you can track the progress of what you're doing through our rewards and recognition program. But the reality is you can prospect on the go or from home just by using a mobile app. So again, this is something that's very simple, but in the marketing industry, this is very disruptive. Kind of like our services: simple, convenient, and disruptive. And from a pricing standpoint, it couldn't get any better. Now, we're not going to fix something that wasn't broken. We grew to $500 million a year in revenue with traditional and social avenues, but we're in a digital world now, and it allows the field entrepreneur, the home-based business person that doesn't have all the baggage of overhead and traditional business costs, that can run a lean, mean business right from the comfort of their home and be able to receive high margins. So let's take a look at the 3 ways that we wind up getting compensated for the work that we do. And the first way that we're going to look at is when we market memberships ourselves. When we share the information and somebody decides to download and subscribe. This is an example here for somebody who subscribes to both services for $40. That puts you in position to earn $100. 2.5 times what it cost the customer to get access to a service they needed, couldn't afford, and didn't know about yet until you came along and introduced it. Now, we give you the ability to, instead of getting paid that $100 over the course of a year as the customer pays each month, simply by going out and we have a plan in place to help you to do it 6 times in your first 20 days, we'll pay you the whole $600 up front, even though the customer hasn't made those payments yet. That should show you the cash strength of our company, and also what we know the retention is on our services. And that matters if you're really evaluating a business and doing your due diligence, to be able to see the financial strength of a company, and they know the long-term retention on their services. So yes, you spend $100 to get into business. In some states, there might be additional licensing there that is not determined by the company directly. But the point is, you have the ability to be in profit mode very quickly. Now, once you're past that what we call our Fast Start Challenge program, on your 6th membership, you'll earn $120. And by the way, whether you go fast or slow, once you make it to senior associate, everything is paid for a full year in advance. You will not wait for the customer to pay monthly for you to earn. So you will make $120 direct deposit the next day once you have somebody that winds up being on your website, enrolling, downloading the app. And once they're processed, that commission will get pushed out to you right away. And you can move all the way up our compensation plan simply by doing volume. It's cumulative over any point in time until you hit our senior director position. It will require 25 new subscriptions on a monthly basis to maintain $230 per each one of those memberships. But you can see it's the same exact conversation as an executive director that you had with somebody as an associate, simply by taking out a mobile app, saying, I've got something I want to show you. It'll take a few minutes, look over this information, and let me know what you think. You then put them into the marketing app. It sends them information on a short video. You follow up, ask questions, and help them download and subscribe. That is our business model. We can teach anybody to do it. It doesn't matter your experience or your background. Now, being an executive director, you need to carry 50 new subscriptions a month. We want you to know that we have people in the team now that do well more than 50 a month. And by the time you reach the senior director position, you're going to be rethinking your traditional job at that point, because you can do all this on a part-time basis. There are no quotas. But as you start to climb through our compensation plan, something starts to happen and can potentially change the long-term financial future for you and your family. Now, we'll get to that for a second. We want to show you that there's an opportunity to be able to spread the distribution even faster. Legal Shield is very underrepresented in the marketplace right now. And again, the company has chosen to go the path of sharing the message through independent representatives out in the field versus the traditional mainstream advertising of television commercials that nobody's watching or paying attention to anymore. But they know with the existing size of the field, they'll never get to everybody that they need to get to without growing that field. And what they've done is allowed us, by being their business partners, to be able to create that distribution and not just be able to refer the service to folks, but also being able to refer the opportunity to people. So you might be fortunate enough along the way to have your first 3 families that enroll, one of them raising their hand and saying, I'd like to do what you're doing. I want to know more about the opportunity. And then you get this presentation in front of them and they decide to get started, and we'll allow you to move to the senior associate part of the compensation just by doing 3 memberships if one of them gets started as an associate as well. And not only does that move you up the ranks quicker, but you're in the opportunity now to earn overrides through that distribution point. That new associate that's working with you, they go out and market their first membership. They'll get paid $100. You'll be paid the difference, which is $20. Might not seem like a ton of money, but all you did was introduce them to the opportunity. Now, everybody that's a manager on up will also be compensated because they are going to pour information to helping that new associate get their business off the ground, what they know at their levels, to be able to help that associate move up. But let's say that you've gone through and done some production to get yourself to the director level. And now you're earning $190. That same associate that followed you into the business, if they're just getting started, they have to start off as an associate. And now you're going to teach them everything you know all the way up to the director position, which will in turn give you a $90 override. So we keep going a little bit further here just to stretch things, show you what it could look like if you do have an organization. Let's say that you go out and find 3 associates. They turn around and duplicate the same thing, and it happens again. And now you have a team of 39 folks. And let's say that this took you 2 months. Excuse me. Let's say it took you 6 months. Let's say it takes you a year. Let's say it takes you 3 years. The point is, it doesn't matter. See, I was taught when I got in this business that you'd rather have 1% of 100 people's income than 100% of your own, because that gives you the ability to have leverage and income that can grow in spite of you, not because of you. And if everybody on your 39-person team on a part-time basis went out and did 1 membership per month and you were at the senior director position, you now have $1,500 in overrides that had nothing to do from your own personal production. Now, let's say that they took it a little bit more serious and everybody on the team does 1 sale per week. Now you have over $6,000 just in override income coming in. Now, you probably won't do it with 39 people, but you can certainly build an organization and distribution channels of where you have 39 people doing 1 per day. And now that puts you at almost $50,000 per month. I'm not here to sell you on a millionaire's dream. I want you to know this, though. We've been around for a long time, and there are examples of people who have done it this kind of volume and are making that kind of money before we've created the digital marketing apps that we have that are exploding the business the way they are now. So there is proof there that this can be done. Okay. So let's move on just a little bit and talk about the most important part of our compensation plan. And that is you being vested lifetime on the book of business that you create with Legal Shield. Everything you saw up to this point was first year compensation, but these memberships stay on the books for years and years and years. And what winds up happening is every single month, starting on month number 13, that the member that you helped get involved, or the member you received override on, makes a payment of their subscription. A portion of that is taken out and paid to you residually for the life of the membership, whether you're part of Legal Shield anymore or not. This is not something that we hope winds up happening. We don't hope the company has enough money to take care of us. This has been happening for generation after generation with Legal Shield, and it was a promise that was made from our founder, Harlan Stonecipher, when he created this company, to be able to give this kind of entrepreneur ownership to folks that were willing to get out there and get after it. Now, in addition to that, when you're subscribed to Legal Shield Advantage, you can participate in a car allowance, a car bonus program that gives you the ability to have $500 a month, a BMW payment for you, by simply going out and helping 5 families subscribe to our service on a monthly basis. And you have to do it first, but starting on month number 12, you can either take $300 cash or $500 if you can show them that you have purchased or leased a BMW, and they'll continue to pay that every single month as long as you continue to be a part of that Performance Club program and earning those 5 points. There's additional ways you can earn Performance Club points, which we won't go to in this presentation, but the person that invited you out will certainly give you those details. And we invite you to be a part of all our vacation and incentive programs. This year, we're heading out to Atlantis on an all-expense paid trip by the company by being part of the Performance Club program and meeting a few other simple requirements that are designed for part-timers, not designed for just the heavy hitters and the big income earners and that sort of thing. We know 95% of our field are folks that are doing this on a part-time basis. So all the rewards, all our training, everything is geared around making the part-timers successful. And again, being able to participate in an all-expense paid vacation for you and a significant other is a nice way for Legal Shield to say thank you for helping spread the message of these two great services. So people are joining us for numerous reasons, but when we boil it down to, they believe in the product, meaning they're telling people about it, whether they're getting paid. Number two, they desire more income. Also, number three, they definitely want more freedom in their life instead of just being held into a box of what a traditional job does. But in addition to that, we find that the personal growth and professional development that people find with our company is something that they want to be a part of. And here there's a community and a culture, a way to make new friends with like-minded people who see things in the same capacity as you, and they know they will empower and protect others. And we meet all 6 of these. So here's what we say from here. The action steps are: become a member, try the service out, understand, subscribe, know how the app works. The best marketing tool ever is you being a member of the service and you understanding what it does from there. Become an associate. We want to have you download our marketing tools and get you started right away, get you trained as part of our onboarding program, and work out our 20-20-20 program so you can be advanced ranked in our compensation plan immediately and on your way by getting Fast Start qualified into the Performance Club. And then the last step is let's start introducing these services to other people who might be entrepreneurial minded, who might need extra income, and let's spread the message out there, because we definitely have a service that needs to be in the hands of way more people than we have access to it now. 4 million users is a big book of business. That's how many subscribers there are to Legal Shield right now. But there's a market research study out there that suggests we could get this service into the hands of around 50 million folks if the right message and the public awareness is created, which we invite you to be a part of. So I'm going to ask you to get back in touch with the person who invited you to take a look at this information. Let them know where you're at, what your thoughts are. Write down some of the questions that you have, and let's make sure that we get you rolling with us as soon as possible. Again, we appreciate you taking a few minutes here to review this information, and we look forward to hearing your testimony and success story soon. Thanks so much.